Today we have Marcos Ruiz on the call. I would argue that he is the top ghostwriter on X, absolutely crushing it, not only for himself, but for his clients. The results speak for himself.
The Birdhouse, we have a team of 6. I consider us one of the biggest. We definitely get the best results when it comes to ghostwriting on X. We also do LinkedIn as of 2024. Yeah, we've been crushing it. Got 15 active clients, all also crushing it, between 20 and 100. Actually signed someone that has like 300,000 followers. So we've been growing like crazy, and I'm hoping that I can give you guys some information on how we crush it for them, but then also how you can get clients for yourself and build your actual personal brand. Sweet. So it's called the Monetization Masterclass, but it's going to start with content. So little about me, you probably just heard, but CEO at the Birdhouse. We build, scale, and monetize personal brands on X and LinkedIn, heavily focused on personal brands who sell info products, but we actually take a lot of just regular founders and CEOs as well, based out of here in Miami. So these are some of the results. This is not updated. We've got much better results, I swear. These are some of the results we've gotten for clients, especially these last 2 to 3 months. So this is actually going to be really relevant. It has been insane. I had a client who we launched Monday who's up 10,000 followers in 3 days. I had a client who gained 30,000 followers in like 18 hours. It's just nuts right now. X is definitely the place to be. And again, these are just some of the results that we've been able to get for clients, booking calls, making money. And I always say we help our clients make money, and growing a personal brand is a byproduct. So I want to talk about the 5 content pillars that I use in my content and that we use for all of our clients in terms of building personal brands. So I've coined it PESTO, and this is just an acronym for 5 content pillars. So the first one's going to be personal. So personalizing your content is really important for building a personal brand. And this is going to encompass anything from telling stories, behind the scenes, family life. It can go as little as just like day-to-day cup of coffee. I think Dakota does this really well. And this goes for all platforms. This isn't just Twitter. One thing, I actually just gave a talk on this over the weekend at a mastermind, and they were all Instagram people. And I tell people that you can utilize these different pillars on different platforms in different ways. So for example, on Instagram, a lot of your personal content is probably going to be in your Instagram story. Whereas on Twitter, everything's going to be a tweet because everything's just tweets anyway. So keep that in mind. But telling stories, behind the scenes, family life, etc. And I gave some examples here, all names that you probably know, of people going viral and getting really good engagement with personal content. Next is going to be expertise. This is going to be your typical how-tos, your listicles, your frameworks, your mental models. I'm literally giving you a piece of expertise content right now. I love creating frameworks for all of my different value props. I think it's really digestible and really easy to understand. And there's tons of examples of this, but there was actually a study done over at the marketing school with Neil Patel and Eric Sue. And it's actually the best performing piece of written content on the internet as of February 2024 is how-tos and listicles. So these should absolutely be your number one priority when it comes to written content. Is expertise content, but more specifically how-tos and listicles. And this can be done in threads, of course, but it could also be done in just regular tweets, as you see here, from some more big people, Dan Go, Cody Sanchez, people you all know. So the next one is going to be social proof. This is going to be a lot of how you actually convert clients to buyers, convert followers to buyers. And this is where you're going to be putting out your case studies, your client wins, your testimonials. I'm sure a lot of you converted to being a Dakota client from a piece of social proof content. And I have one here. This is actually like in the top of my social proof swipe file. I love Dakota's thread on Talon. Shout out Dakota. I write a ton of these. I heavily rely on social proof content for my brand. When it comes to converting clients, I'm really not in a growth stage. I'm much more of a conversion nurture stage. So I post a lot of testimonials, client wins. This can be something like a screenshot of analytics. This can be screenshots of Stripe. This could be just stories. You can do this in a lot of creative ways, but this is really going to be one of the core ways you actually nurture and convert your audience. So social proof, super important if you have it. And I know a lot of people are going to ask, oh, what if you don't have social proof? We'll get to that in the Q&A, I promise. All right, trending. This one's also very important. This one is going to be heavy on the growth side. This is going to be how you're actually going to go and take advantage of viral opportunities, industry news, popular topics, etc., and weave it into your content in order to take advantage of that SEO and actually take advantage of the people who are going to be searching for content like that. So as you can see, one of the best examples I use is last year when ChatGPT came out, everybody was making ChatGPT content and leveraging it for growth. And I remember, funnily enough, was Dakota making fun of it and doing like comment potato if you want the ChatGPT script. And it got a bunch of people. But in all seriousness, it's a really great way to generate a ton of buzz. And you can do this in a very tasteful way without nuking your personal brand. It's all about actually tying it back in. So for me, I'm not going to just do, 5 Google Chrome extensions or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and do maybe how you can use ChatGPT to actually create really good threads or thread concepts or thread ideas. That would be very relatable to my personal brand as it pertains to creating X related content or LinkedIn content. So that's just one example. And this is really the best way to take advantage of this is kind of staying on top of your industry. It's like it's easy for me on X because I'm on X and I follow all the X accounts in Elon Musk and I have his notifications on. So I'm always seeing what's going on in terms of new features, news, etc. And I'm able to just quickly quote tweet that, summarize it, reply, anything like that. So I like to take advantage of this a lot. And this is really great for growth. Hi, Laura. And opinions. So opinions is one of the most important, if not the most important, in my opinion. This is going to be honest opinions that you actually believe about your industry, about your ideal client avatar, about your expertise, et cetera. And what this really does is it allows you to draw a line in the sand, and it does two things. On one side, people are going to disagree with you and they're going to engage with your content and it's going to get pushed. And the other side of you, for the people who agree with you, are now going to become loyal followers. They're going to join your little cult, and they are going to be people that are going to eventually become buyers. So the important thing with this is to actually tell your opinion that you believe in. Don't just try to be polarizing to be polarizing. I've seen people completely nuke their personal brand doing like weird polarizing opinions, and then it's just so you get dunked on by like the whole world. So don't do that. But like for example, in a tasteful way, and as I'm actually relating it back to my industry, you can see one of my tweets where it's like I think a lot of people like to shit on platitudes or frameworks or something like that. But in reality, if you know how to take advantage of viral frameworks, which I mentioned in the trending pillar, you can actually mix it in tastefully. And this is the key to building not only a good personal brand, but a large one. So this is opinion. So those are the 5 content pillars to build a well-rounded personal brand that not only grows, but makes money. Inbound lead gen. So how do you actually make money? So the core 4 things that I like to do for inbound lead gen are hand raisers and call to actions, social proof and expertise. Those are the 2 pillars we really lead on for getting inbound leads. Pretty much my entire business runs off inbound leads. Profile optimization, which you saw in my profile at the beginning, and results, which is the most important. That's how you're actually going to get referrals and actually have the social proof to put out. And these are really old examples, but you can go to my profile for really up-to-date ones. But these are just some examples. And the reason I got old ones is because I know pretty much everyone here is going to be a beginner, if not at least earlier in your stage in your career. So I went back and took the screenshots from when I started. So this is some of the testimonial screenshots and tweets that I was doing. And then this is literally an inbound lead that I ended up signing for, I think I signed up for like 3K a month. He came in from these tweets. So these are just a couple examples, and you can actually see my script of how I went and converted him. This is an example of a hand raiser looking for 2 to 3 CEOs who want to take their Twitter to the next level. It used to be called Twitter, by the way. Hands free, dumb for you. So this was my old call to action. Now my call to action looks a lot different. But this is just an example of when I was starting. It's the date on that, December 2022. So been around. I'm an old head like Dakota. Cool. So again, this is more conversations of how I'm actually converting them on these inbound leads. So you guys can have a copy of this presentation, by the way. You could just take it. But these are just some of the inbound leads, and we'll get into some outbound and inbound scripts as well. So again, one thing that I didn't show, someone that said tweet here is essentially a call to action and putting out a keyword saying just DM me tweet if you're interested. So this person had DM'd me the keyword tweet, and that's what had triggered it. But these are inbound leads, these are referrals, and these are all coming from all the things I just covered in terms of inbound lead gen, the core 4. So I want to just provide you guys more examples of the results that came from the things that I did. And this is actually building your profile. So one thing I like to do, shout out Jeremy, who's basically like my agency, but for Instagram. So if you guys are doing Instagram, it works. One thing that I like to show on profile, the most important thing that really matters on your profile it's easier to have, or it's easier to get clients and have 2K followers, but have a bunch of people that are mutual connections than it is to have 200,000 followers and no mutual connections. Because you just look like you bought your followers anyway if you have a bunch of followers and no one notable follows you. So the way you're going to build this is through networking and just having good results and actually uh, having friends. So like one thing I recommend is everyone in here should be following each other and bringing each other up on the timeline and replying with each other. And that's going to be really important because that's how I started. Like I remember even when me and Dakota were coming up, he had way more followers than me, but he knew me through mutual connections. And then he followed me. And now anyone who was interested in my service saw Dakota followed me. So it's like kind of like a badge of honor, right? So as you can see, when I looked at Jeremy's profile, he's got 100 mutual followers. I'm obviously going to trust him. Um, Another really important thing is pinning social proof. And I didn't have this here, but adding your social proof to your highlights section. This is also really important. And you can do this on Instagram with your story highlights. You can do this on LinkedIn with your featured profile spot. And you can do this on Twitter with the highlights section. So really important to highlight as much social proof as you can and just become essentially undeniable. Okay, so outbound DM. So now I'm going to get into kind of how I actually got clients starting out with outbound DM. So I'll go through this, but it's going to have a lot of nitty gritty scripts and such. So there's really three kinds of DMs. I don't know if you guys have heard this before, but cold, warm, and hot. So these are the two that are really going to be focused for outbound. Hot is essentially just someone that's inbound DMing you, somebody who DMs you interested in your service already. So we'll start with cold. So two tips, send as many as the platform allows, especially for the people, if anyone here is at zero, just send as many as it allows. You shouldn't be working on anything else. Like actually, there's nothing to do. If you have no clients, there's nothing to do other than send DMs. Like you have no life. Just send DMs. And it's consistency and it's a marathon, not a sprint. So one thing that I always say is people ask like, how many would you send? And I give a big range for a reason. It's like, if you can only send 100 a day and actually keep up with that, it's better than sending 1,000 once and then burning out and never sending any again. So keep consistency, but also, don't be like a little girl and not send a lot. So just send a lot. It's really important and it works. The numbers don't lie. So this is just an example of a script that I used to use when I was doing follower guarantees. I'm not going to read it, but it's an example and feel free to copy it. I don't care. I don't do outbound that much anymore. So you could just take the script. So this is from August 2022. I think I was like 3 or 4 months into business. So I was sending this out like crazy and I had my little CRM and Notion and I had a whole follow-up sequence. It was really cool. I don't know if you cover DMs in your cohort, but I'll give you more. Keep going. These are just a couple of CRMs that I recommend. I actually recommend Phantom Buster more now. I think Rocketbird's trying to sell. That's a little bit of alpha. They're trying to like exit, so don't use them anymore. Use Phantom Buster or Notion if you're like me. All right, warm DM. So warm DMs is essentially DMs to anybody who's engaged whatsoever with anything you've ever done. These are people that don't have zero interest or zero knowledge of who you are, which makes them warm. And there's different levels of how warm they are. I wish the colors were reversed on this, but in order of how cold they are, your old followers are probably the coldest, and then they kind of warm up as you go. The hottest followers would be, or the hottest leads would be people that are just following you because you could just DM them and be like, hey, thanks for the follow, and then get right into a script. So this is just a pyramid of people you can DM for warm DMs. And we do this for clients, by the way. So this is really good. Our clients make anywhere from $50,000 to $350,000 a month just doing this. Well, not them, the setter. And this is an example of a new follower script. So, hey, appreciate the follow. Was checking out your website. Super interesting. Never seen forget what it was, company before. And he was like, thanks, man. And I'm like, ever thought about growing on Twitter? Yes. Okay. Let's get on the call. It's not that simple, but I usually don't like to have scripts after the initial outreach. I like to just have a normal human conversation. It converts better, especially on Twitter and LinkedIn, where people aren't bots. Like people have knowledge and they're really highly sophisticated and aware. So they'll see right through you if you try to do some weird copy paste script all the way through the conversation. So just be a human. Only DM people you actually think you could help, and you'll be golden. Which I just covered. Learn to have a conversation, lead with value, and only reach out to people you can genuinely help. Very important. You're going to nuke your reputation if you reach out to someone you can't help. They pay you money and you bomb. So get good. Personal brand math. So personal brand math. I forgot I had this in here. This is really cool. So We do this for every client still. I've got 2 personal brand math slides. There we go. Cool. So an example of this is, for example, if you gained 1,000 followers this month, how many calls should you book? And you could just do the math problem and you can very quickly predict how many calls you should book to make sales. Or you could just do this math for not calls booked if you don't want to do calls. But a good follower to call ratio, this is some serious alpha, is like 10 to 40. So for every 10 to 40 followers you gain, you could typically estimate how many calls you're going to book. So for every 40 new followers, you get a call. And you could do this all the way up the ladder and kind of find your average. And that will help you measure your performance doing the DMs. If your follower to call ratio is 1,000, you suck at DMs. So fix your script. If it's 10, don't change your script. Get more followers. And so you'll have more calls. See how you could just play with each end of the equation? We do this for clients. And I'd say on average, our clients between 10, it's actually more like 50, 10 to 50. I've had clients go as low as 7, but I've also had clients go as high as like 500 if we go mega viral and gain 30,000 followers. So, but this is a general rule of thumb for 1,000 new followers. Cool. So again, 1,000 followers, 40 follow. I call it follower to call ratio or F to C. Will get you about 25 calls, and you could do this math all the way through. 80% show rate, 20% close rate, 20 sales calls, 20 times closes, 4 new deals, 5K a month. Congrats, you're at 20K a month. Obviously, it's not that simple. You actually have to be good at closing and you actually have to have Calendly reminders. So it gets pretty deep, but I wanted to put this here to kind of show you you can be doing this math for yourself and for your clients and have predictable results and much better reporting, to be honest. I actually did it for $2,500 a month for 10K a month if that's your goal. So you just need 4 deals at $2,500 a month. So now you're like, okay, I need 1,000 new followers. And then you go and do it and you're like, oh, actually, my close rate's terrible. I have a 7% close rate. So now you know what you need to work on. And what this is called is the theory of constraints, which is not on this. You can figure out your constraint pretty fast and find out where you actually need to edit your business and actually improve. So if you gain 1,000 new followers and you did not make $10,000 new dollars per month, you clearly have a constraint. So you need to go figure out where that is. Is it my show rate? Is it my close rate? Is it my follower to call ratio? You'll find out quickly by the end of the month. So this is why it's important to track your data. And again, we do this for ourselves, but we also do this for clients, which allows us to actually get good results at the end of the day, which is all that really matters in this game. Bonus. I don't know what the bonus is either, so I'm scared. Oh yeah, this is the closer framework that I use still to this day. I've been using this since I started my agency, and I use this still today, and I take all my sales calls still today, about like a 33% close rate. This is, you can just Google this, the closer framework. But I still use this to this day. I'm like, hey, why'd you book? Okay, so you need to grow on Twitter or you need to make money from Twitter, right? Have you tried to grow on Twitter? No. Okay. Sell them the vacation, which is essentially give them my offer, and then I just objection handle and reinforce their decision. It's very chill. Because I'm not a sales guy. I'm an introvert. So I like to have something that I can just rely on, because sometimes you get in a sales call and you're like, where was I? I have no idea where I'm going. Fall back on this. Where am I on the closer framework? So I'd Google this, and I had this as my background for like a year. So highly recommend. That's the real presentation. And I wanted to speed through it so that we can get to Q&A because I'm sure there's questions. But I hope that was valuable. I'm not sure where to go from
That
here.
was killer. No, thank you. I appreciate
Okay,
that.
sweet.
I agree the closer framework